Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you the top 5 customs that I've made in 2023 that I think are my best ones. So yeah, anyways, let's get started with it. I'm going to do from like oldest to newest, I guess. So yeah. Okay, so for our first custom is Burn Trap. So yeah, Burn Trap was the first one I made out of all of these guys, and I made him like somewhere in summer of 2023. But yeah, as you can see, I did make him out of a Springtrap figure, tie-dye Springtrap to be exact, and his head falls off a lot. But yeah, I just think he came out really good. His head could definitely be a lot better, but I think his body is really just perfect. He took me about 10 hours to make as well, and I made him like one day. But yeah, I think he came out amazing. But yeah, I think he's one of my favorite customs that I have because, I don't know, he's just a very good custom. Also, his eyes do glow in the dark. I'll put up a picture of it. But yeah, his eyes do glow in the dark. It sucks that they glow blue and not purple, but it's alright. It's still cool nonetheless. If you're wondering how I made his like guts and stuff, well, most of them were made from clay, but the other ones were actually made from hot glue, like how this one's like bending, as you can see. That's because it's from hot glue. If you're wondering why his head keeps falling off, it's because I basically just molded clay around his ball joint right here to his neck, and so that I could actually go on and stuff, was that it like saw off his whole like bottom jaw. So yeah, that's why it keeps falling off. It's a really loose fit, but it can still stay on there. But yeah, if you want to like know how I made him completely and stuff, I have like a tutorial, I guess you could say, on my channel. I'll link it in the description to this guy, and same with all my other customs. Well, I think that's enough for Burn Trap. I guess we can go on to the next one. Okay, so for our second custom, and our second oldest one, it's going to be Ruined Glamrock Freddy. And I actually made him right after, almost right after Burn Trap here. But yeah, I think he came out amazing. I really like him. He's definitely one of my favorite custom figures that I've made. And yeah, I just think he's really cool. He was a very hard custom to make. This guy I also made him one day, same with Burn Trap. But yeah, I think he came out really good. And if you're wondering why his hand is missing, that's because it like broke off first of all, and the paint got scratched up and chipped. So I'm gonna repaint. I'm like repainting it right now, and I'm gonna glue it back on. But yeah, that's why it's not on there right now. But yeah, this guy was so hard to make, and his torso had to break into a bunch of pieces, but it can still swivel, as you can see. I'm trying to do my best with this one hand, but yeah, it can still swivel. And as you can see in there, and he's like whole right there, you can see the present box. Yeah, I did put it in there. And yeah, I think this is like a really good custom. Definitely one of my best. He's definitely in like the top 3 or something. It's just right now he doesn't have his hand, which makes him look a lot worse, honestly. But yeah, I think he's really good. Well, okay, now on to our next custom, which is also a Ruin custom. So our next custom is going to be Ruin Roxy. Now, this custom was the hardest out of the customs that I've shown so far. Honestly, it might not look like that, but it definitely was. I spent a total of 3 days on it, but it wasn't like all day like these two, but it was like just working on it for 3 days straight, basically. And it took a lot of time to make. Honestly, as you can tell, it's a really difficult custom to make out of just some Funko Roxy little figure. There's a lot of things you need to do, and the hardest thing, honestly, was the head and this torso right here, because of the whole endoskeleton and stuff like that. Everything else was actually pretty okay. I mean, the endo arm wasn't too hard. Lastly, no, it was pretty frustrating to make an endo arm. And I have in my video of this figure that I have right here, like in a tutorial of it, I guess. Just kidding, no, it's not a tutorial. But I explained how to actually make this like endo arm if I had to use like Radioactive Foxy's arm and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, it was a very hard custom, very detailed and stuff. This, I didn't really do anything right here because I didn't know what to put there. But yeah, it's pretty interesting how Funko heads have that right there. But yeah, it was very hard how to cut like the hair off Roxanne Wolf's head and stuff, and like the whole face, just slice it in half to get like this piece right here, and then sculpt every little part of clay in her like endoskeleton head out of clay. So yeah, it was very frustrating, and her hair would always keep falling off because I just had air dry clay at the time. But yeah, anyways, I think it's a really good custom. Really like it. The endo foot that I made for her right there, and the tail, I just think it looks really good. And it's definitely one of my favorite customs, and I just really like it. Now, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about her. She still can swivel her hands, even though I had to like take them off constantly. Can still swivel both of her hands. And yeah, I think it's a really good custom, but she cannot turn her head. She can still turn her waist though, so that's good. And this shoulder joint still works, even though it's like being held up like right over here. So yeah. But yeah, overall, I think it's a really good custom, and I just really like it. I guess we can get on to our next custom then. Alright, our next custom is going to be Nightmare Fredbear. Now, this one I actually made right after I made Ruin Roxy, And yeah, so like pretty much right after this guy just came out really good, and he honestly wasn't too hard to make. He did take me like a week to make, but that's only because I was just like spending about like 30 minutes or an hour on him each day out of those, so it really wasn't as long as it took to make him as like these three right here. And he honestly wasn't too hard of a custom. I mean, the withering I didn't have to do with our Dremel. I just had to put some milliput on it and then just add like the withering in and all of that, so it wasn't hard for that. I mean, the only hard thing really was just gluing all these like teeth and stuff and like basically just shaping out his head, because I did use VR Toy Freddy for this figure. But he overall wasn't too hard. I actually really like him, and I'm glad he didn't take that long to make. And I think he's very accurate, if not like my most accurate custom that I have, just to the games. I just think it's just very accurate. Not the most detailed, but I think it's really cool. Anyways, I guess that's basically it for Fredbear. He still has all of his articulation. I was gonna plan to make his like jaw move up at like close and open, but who cares? I mean, it kind of can. Alright, on to our next custom. Alright, so this is our last custom, and it's my newest one that I on this list. And yeah, the head also pops off a lot. But yeah, it's Mangle. Now, this was a very hard custom to make, and you can probably tell why. Because, you know, it's a Mangle figure. I can't just use like a regular figure like that Funko makes, and this is like do some painting and sculpting and cutting on it. This one I had to like full on just do a bunch of stuff on. Now, this would take a long time to explain, so, you know, I'm not going to explain it all. But I had to use a bunch of spare parts from like my previous customs, and just have a bunch of joints and stuff that like I had that are spare. And it was a very, very tedious process to make this custom. But yes, he's very articulated. I'm not going to fully like show you it right now, like on how I made her, but I'll show you the articulation. Okay, so for her articulation, she has a hinge, as you can see, on her neck, and it's like a Lego hinge that I got. I just cut it up and all that, and yeah, so you can turn her head, but it's very loose, so I'm just gonna take that off right now. This one's also very loose, but has a ball joint at the elbow, ball joint at the shoulder, and a ball joint right here, I guess you could say the wrist. And then right here, you only have one ball joint at the shoulder. I was planning on having another ball joint right here. As you can see, you can actually see the joint, but it cracked and broke, so yeah, that sucks. But here's the endo head. And then for this arm, we have a ball joint, I guess that you can see the shoulder right there, and one at the elbow. I have a ball joint for her tail back here, and I have a ball joint on all of her knees, as you can see. Like, do that, and then I have it on the thigh, I guess you could say. But yeah, she has a lot of articulation. Sadly, no torso articulation though, but that's just kind of how it is. And yeah, she's a very tall figure, as you can see, just like stretching out all the legs and stuff. Very tall figure compared to my other figures. Here's a better look at the endo head. I decided to paint his eye black, you know, just because it looked very weird at first. I'm thinking about getting him some teeth as well, but I think he turned out really, really good. Honestly, I really like this endo head. Even I had some details in the back as well, and I just overall think he's very good. I did not expect him to come out this good, because what I did is just looked at a reference picture of his head, and then it's made a bunch of little tiny parts of epoxy sculpt that like looked like the stuff that was on his head. Then the next day when they're all dry, I just glued them all together, and that's how I got it. If you're wondering what I used for Mangle's head right here, because it does not look like a Funko head, well, it does, because I used a Funko head for this, but like the shape of it still doesn't look like it, especially when you see the back and stuff. That's because I actually used the Roxanne Wolf head that I didn't use for my Ruin Roxy figure. So yeah, since I cut off the face of this one, I just had like a Roxanne Wolf face, and since like Funko just reused the mold for Mangle's head to make Roxanne Wolf. But yeah guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and please like and subscribe, because, you know, these guys took me a long time to make, and since you already watched the whole video, might as well just like the video at least. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.